From Mamma Mia, welcome to the Spills Watch Party, where we unpack the biggest shows and movies that everybody is talking about. My name's Courtney Ammenhauser. I'm an executive producer here at Mamma Mia.
And I'm Ksenija and Chelsea. I'm host of Mamma Mia's entertainment podcast, The Spill.
And I'm Chelsea Hoy, the entertainment producer here at Mamma Mia.
On today's Watch Party, we're going to be diving into episodes 4 to 6 of Nobody Wants This. There will be spoilers for those episodes, but we're not going beyond that, we promise.
4 to 6 now. There's quite a few things that happen in these 3 episodes. So we've got Valentine's Day, which is episode 4, Abby Loves Smoothies, where we meet Leighton Meester in episode 5, and then Anything Can Happen, episode 6, which ends on one hell of a cliffhanger.
Shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I wanted to start this episode by talking about something that didn't really come up last season, which is Noah's red flags. I feel like last season he was portrayed as this picture perfect guy, such a dreamboat. Everyone was like, oh, I wish he was my boyfriend. But now it feels like we're kind of losing that facade a bit.
I think that's kind of the beauty of this show is that, you know, with most rom-coms, you have your perfect romantic lead. They've got, yes, they have flaws, but at the end of the day, they fall in love and all is happy. But I think now what we're seeing is Noah and what is it that has made his previous relationships not stick?
What about you, Chels? Have there been any red flags that have started to wave so far?
Yeah, I never thought I would say this, but this season, Noah's giving me the ick.
Oh my God, me too.
I know.
He's a bit too keen. Like he reminds me of like a golden retriever. Like he's like, you know, the golden retriever boyfriend?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very like, like I have to do exactly what you, like I'm going to do everything you ask. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? It's almost like settle down. He's a bit of a simp, which I believe is the Gen Z term for it. Chelsea, you're younger.
Are you Gen Z?
Are you Gen Z? You're
'Cause I'm
younger
not.
than me.
No, I'm technically a millennial.
Oh my
I
God,
wear
you
that as a
look
badge of
so
honor.
young.
Yeah, I'm technically millennial.
But yeah, he's kind of just being a little bit too keen. Like when he's, you know, in episode 3 where he's organising Joanne's mum's birthday, and it's like, it's almost like he's trying too hard. And what we see in episode 4, Valentine's Day, is Joanne start to go, okay, this is getting to be a lot.
Sometimes when you fall in love with someone or you even befriend them and they have all these things that you like at the start, and then after a while you're like, oh, I hate that now.
Yeah, I also think what the progression we've seen from season 1 to now of Noah's character is also reflective of maybe Joanne's lens of him. Early on in the relationship, season 1 is like that honeymoon period where you've got butterflies and everything about this person just seems so perfect. And now is when she's starting to really settle in and see some of the flaws that Noah has.
Totally. And I think something that has also been kind of skimmed over, if we rewind back to the start of last season, he had bought a ring for someone else. No, he hadn't proposed, but he had it in his home.
I totally agree. We all kind of forgot. It's not that we forgot about it, but it was like we gave him a pass for that particular slight. Because let's step back and think about this for a second. You've been dating someone for a number of years. You expect this relationship to go on. And we see in episode 4 when he finally meets with Rebecca, and she's like, you talked about our kids' names. You talked about, you bought a non-refundable trip to Portugal. Like, we were in a really serious relationship. You're in that kind of relationship with someone. You come across a ring. Maybe Rebecca shouldn't have put the ring on and just assumed she was engaged.
A bit hectic.
That was not great. However, I'm going to give her a pass because she thought this is where the relationship was going. Then he freaks out and runs away. We definitely glossed over that.
Yeah. And for him to now be in this new relationship fairly soon after, I would say, you know.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting that the conversation between Noah and Rebecca and how little he knows that he was never upfront about anything that was wrong in the relationship. And I think it is this kind of classic trope of a quote unquote nice guy who is trying so hard to be the nice guy and avoid confrontation, avoid conflict, and isn't really able to express himself in a healthy way. But that insistence on trying to be the nice guy is what makes you not a nice guy.
Absolutely. And just like trying to, I think the key thing here is, you know, we hear Rebecca say, I was completely blindsided. Now, the only reason that Noah goes to speak to Rebecca is because Joanne says, you've given me the same necklace that you got Rebecca for Valentine's Day. Is this what you do for all of your girlfriends?
Yeah. Do you just have like, I don't know, a plan of how to be a boyfriend and you roll it out to the same person?
It is like he has He is doing things because he has a feeling that that is the expectation of a boyfriend. That is what a perfect boyfriend should do, not because he actually wants to. Now, I don't think that's the case in all of the things in his relationship. For example, the side table, I think that was unique and thoughtful. But in terms of romantic gestures of what he should be doing, like going on those hikes and like Joanne's like sweating and like hating her life. She's like, please get me the hell out of here. Like, it's
not for her.
stop. The bath.
Well,
She's like, I'm sweating. It's hot. I'm cramped. I'm trying to I put a shower cap on. Like,
also,
this is too much.
Taking a bath with someone is not the experience you think it's going to be.
It's actually not comfortable. It's
like
horrible.
Trying to sit up, it's slippery, it's hot. I just don't think it's necessarily the romantic thing that we make it out to be at all.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so I think we get a really big insight into Noah's biggest flaw, which is also probably one of his best qualities, is that he's a people pleaser. He wants people to like him, sometimes to his detriment and to other people's detriment, you know. Obviously, being a kind person is important, but not when you sacrifice how you actually feel. And, you know, seeing Rebecca's view there, I actually really love that Rebecca got that moment with Noah, because I do feel like she kind of got brushed off a little bit, and I wanted to see a bit more of like, that was really hurtful for her, and she was kind of left alone.
Yeah, we kind of just saw this new fun love blossoming that we just kind of discarded her.
Yeah, but I really like that Joanne's kind of questioning him a little bit more. You know, we've got a little bit more tension there and a bit more of her going, I need you to want to be with me, not treat me the way that you think you should be treating a girlfriend.
Do we think this way that he treats his love interest is part of an extension of his job and where he stands in the community and having to be this like upstanding citizen who's not putting a foot wrong?
Definitely there would be a pressure on him to behave a certain way as a rabbi. You know, we see him, you know, doing that interview with Seth Rogen and at Temple Ahava, you know, this new temple, which is a bit more progressive. And you can see that he's a bit uncomfortable, and he's trying to be this really perfect version. I mean, we even see it when every time he is in a group setting, he's always standing up to talk. He's almost doing a sermon at every single event.
Yeah, I think also there is a fixation that Noah has on being a good person and what that means. I think we spoke a little bit about this last time, about him really not expressing in an honest way how he's feeling if it's a negative emotion. I feel like Noah thinks that that is the way to be a good person, but to hold that all in, when in reality, in a relationship, that's not functional or healthy for the other person in any way.
Totally. Something that we're going to get to later in the episode as well is when he says he needs a night off. We're going to dive into that a whole lot more, but I think that even plays into what I was saying before about him seeing it as an extension of his job, like playing this really good person and not putting a foot wrong. It's like he just needs a night off from being Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So there are a couple of notable actors popping up in these 3 episodes. I want to start with Leighton Meester. She's obviously Adam Brody's real life wife, but Chelsea, this isn't the first time they've worked together.
Honestly, seeing Blair Waldorf and Seth Cohen on the screen together will never not be a trip. It is every millennial's TV dream. And it feels like they love it too. They've worked together on several projects now. Adam featured in Leighton Meester's show, Good Cop, Bad Cop, which is on Stan. And they've also talked very openly about them getting a lot of offers to work together. Adam has said that on most of his projects that he's worked on, they're given the offer, like, does your wife, your husband want to be in this too? And it's gotten to the point where Leighton said that it's more about resisting the offer than really searching out the opportunity. So it seems like studios and producers just want to give the people what they want.
I love that they have Leighton in this, and it feels like to me that Leighton had a really great time playing this character. So she's playing Abby Kaplan, who is she's an influencer, she's a mummy blogger, and she just looks like she's having such a great time with this character.
There's some really beautiful, nuanced acting going on. She just nails the brief perfectly. Just like the little slight, like, looks to the side or a slight smirk. I'm like, mwah, that is so good.
Especially for the little amount of time that Leighton got on that set. That character is very nuanced. Yes, on the surface, she's this like insufferable influencer. There's so many like fun tropes they play with there. But as you get further in the episode, you really see that this is quite a nuanced, deep character who's also going through a lot of things, and it kind of flips it on your head what you think she's going to be when you first start the episode.
Yeah, it would be very easy for them to leave that hate, that just like a very surface level. But, you know, in terms of being an influencer, Abby Kaplan hits all of the tropes.
Tell me what tropes you're talking about.
So what I want to do is if you go back and rewatch this episode, I want you to go to the scene where Leighton Meester, Abby, starts. I'm going to tell you a couple of the lines. Now, if you go back and watch this, when you hear this line, you need to drink.
Take a drink.
First things first is the home. Perfect Instagrammable home. Great lighting. Next is her child's name.
Which is?
Afternoon. Now, do you know what I love? I love when Gabe, the husband, says, her naming style is whimsical and cozy.
Oh, I wrote whimsical cozy down too.
Yeah.
Whimsical cozy. And this is so good. It made me think of like Nara Smith.
Yes. And also there's a lot of like TikTokers who are like naming consultants.
There is naming consultants now. That's where they've gotten this from.
And they go, what's your style? Whimsical cozy or woody and
Yeah. Ethereal.
Yes,
magical.
Yes.
Nature inspired.
They're all very like fairy tale inspired
Yes.
to me, like all of the adjectives that they use.
Next one. A lot of you were asking.
I love it when an influencer says that.
I know.
It was me, I was asking.
A lot of you guys have been asking. Okay, that's one. Okay, the light's better over here.
That's a really good one. Got to
Classic.
get the content. I respect that.
The passive aggressive kindness.
So you don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sweet. I don't know why we stopped talking.
Brutal.
If you were to put up on like a poster, the influencer, the
Anatomy.
classic influencer,
Yes.
you would pop out a carbon copy of Leighton Meester in this episode.
I think as well it could have flopped. Like she's got all these tropes and it could have been very two-dimensional, but because she brings so much to it, as we were saying, it's a really nuanced performance. It lands so perfectly and it's really funny.
I think where we see that is when she actually comes up, she catches Morgan and Joanne in the baby's room. And she drops her face and she goes, I know you think this is stupid, but I'm providing for my family. This is how I make money for my family. So I don't care what you think. That I thought was so beautifully played because she looked hurt. She looked really hurt that they were making fun of her for just trying to make a living. And, you know, then she says, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, like, I remembered now I did actually cut your American Girl doll's hair. We don't really have American Girl dolls here in Australia. It's not like a big thing here.
Is this like a baby born or?
So it's kind of like, so it's not like a Barbie doll. So Barbie doll's different. American Girl doll, I would probably liken it to almost like a, you know how we used to have like the Build-A-Bear places?
Yes.
So American Girl dolls, there's a whole range of them. They all have like different themes. They're much larger and they are kind of, I would say more Baby Bjorny, but they're collectible.
Okay.
So the American Girl dolls, there's all these different ones that they have. And people are avid collectors of these types of dolls. So I think that is quite nuanced and important and quite American specific because we don't have them here.
Yeah. I feel like when I was growing up, there was a moment where American Girl dolls were really in. And I also think people were really tied to them because you're like you were saying, they come in a lot of different themes, but they also come in a range of different ethnicities. So a lot of parents would buy them for their kids and you'd have one that looked like you. And so people were really attached to these things. So I think it's interesting that Joanne is so tied to this doll. And it is very reminiscent of, if you think about being in middle school and there's always,
which would be like that's year 7.
It's like
8.
puberty. It sounds
Like
like
7, 8, and 9 is middle school.
Yeah, that period of time, there's always someone that maybe on your end, you've got this feud, you've got this beef, but for them, it's not even something that's in their orbit. And I feel like that's what we kind of see play out with Joanne and Abby.
That is definitely a thing because when something is traumatic for you, it may not have that same impact in somebody else's life. You know, you don't remember things that don't affect you initially. Does that make sense?
Yes,
you know
yes,
what I'm
no, it does.
saying?
It does.
So
Yeah.
if you have a really impactful memory, for example, you were bullied or, you know, someone tripped you, that is going to be a core memory for you. But the people around you who witness that may not have even realized. And I've had something very similar happen to me when I had been bullied, and, I wrote this article about it, and people from my school reached out and said, I had no idea. I didn't even realize this was a thing. But it was like the center of my universe for the whole year of my life. But nobody else around me. But that makes it it's not that you're being sort of insular and selfish. It's just that has such a large impact on you.
Yeah.
It's so real. I remember things that, teachers might have said years ago, or a boss has given you feedback, and it might have been an off the cuff comment from them, but it sticks with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Memory is funny like that. It can burn into you in a way.
Yeah.
Poor Joanne.
Poor
Poor
Joanne.
American Girl doll. But look, I think the nice thing is they do they resolve it.
Well, that's something I wanted to talk about, because Joanne does say to her, look, the reason I'm behaving in this weird way is because I'm jealous. What did you think about that revelation and her saying that?
I think the whole thing was a really healing moment for Joanne, but also I think it's a huge step in her journey as an individual, but also in her relationship with Noah, because we have seen them be kind of very polar opposites in the sense that Noah's very forgiving, very conflict avoidant as well, whereas Joanne is very upfront, but both her and Morgan kind of tend to the side of revenge and really holding on to these little moments and letting it eat away at them. So it's really beautiful to see her have this resolution with Abby, and her kind of come to the realization that, I'm kind of over it. I don't need revenge. I'm happy you're happy.
Yes, there's something as well in women feeling like, with marriage and children and centering that in their lives, there's something around wanting to have it but not wanting it to be the center. I feel like there can be a push-pull for some people, and you see that in Joanne and the way it shows up for Abby in very different ways, but they still want both of those things, and that's okay. But I feel as though Joanne thinks it's a bit of a cliche and tries to push it away.
The other character that I would love to talk about is Seth Rogen, who shows up very surprisingly. We kind of knew he was going to be in it, but it was still a lovely surprise. He plays the head rabbi at Temple Ahava, and it's Rabbi Neil.
Cool rabbi.
Very cool rabbi, and a bit of a turning point for Noah's character, because Seth Rogen's character tells Noah that he has a wife who isn't Jewish. And that's definitely a moment for Noah where he can sort of see a bit of hope in his future with Joanne.
Rabbi Neil is this reflection of Noah's desires. He wants to be this chilled, relaxed rabbi. He wants to work in an environment where he's accepted for who he is and who he's dating. And Rabbi Neil is that person. He's not dating someone who is Jewish. I do think, though, that he is going to potentially be too much, because you can see Noah's discomfort. You can see him kind of starting to feel uncomfortable with how relaxed Rabbi Neil is. Rabbi Neil's talking about the words, and he goes, well, I do love the words. And it's like, it's taking him out of his comfort zone. It's even more progressive than he was at Temple High.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be growing pains as well, because we do see when he tells Bina that he's gotten this job at Temple Ahava, she doesn't react very positively. And there's going to be this push and pull between tradition and this more progressive new era that Noah's entering into, and there's definitely going to be a bit of contention when it comes to his family.
Absolutely. It's almost like they're creating this pressure cooker environment to see how he comes out the other side.
Yeah.
I want to talk about love languages for a bit, because Ksenia, you've got a theory, and honestly, I tend to agree with you.
I'm so glad. I'm really proud of this. This was my light bulb moment, and I was kind of watching the show, and I was looking at these three key relationships that we've got. We've got our Morgan and Dr. Andy. We've got Sasha and Esther, and we've got Joanne and Noah. And it sort of has moved away from just being a story about Noah and Joanne. Obviously, that's the core of it. I was looking at it and going, particularly this Valentine's Day episode, and I was like, all of these characters give and receive love in different ways. Now, I believe most of you would be familiar with the term love languages.
Yes.
If you're not, this is an idea created by Dr. Gary Chapman. Now, he believes that everybody gives and receives love in different ways. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, if you like to receive love in a particular way, that is often how you will show love. So sometimes if you have different love languages, that's where things can become a little bit, there can be a bit of tension there. So the reason I think this is because the tension that is created within these characters is because of the way that they receive love. What flicked in my brain was when I saw the scene between Dr. Andy and Morgan. When she was getting the flowers at the end of the Valentine's Day episode and he gave her this gift of naming these roses after her and she was kind of like, this is too much.
Agreed.
Dr. Andy is all about gifts. He does the breakfast in bed. He's got the violinist. He's got the key to move in. Obviously, that's also a little bit like an act of service, but I would say it's more of a gift. He's got the roses. He is showering her with gifts and she can't take it. It's too much for her. She doesn't really receive love in that way.
Yeah, this reminds me of the moment where Joanne calls Morgan and she's literally sitting by the pool being painted like one of Dr. Andy's French girls. And I'm like, this is too much. You can tell she's not into it. Gifts are just not necessarily her love language.
Let's look at one of the other characters to see where they fall. Let's go with Esther.
Esther for me is about quality time. Esther, has spent so much of these past 6 episodes talking about being fun.
Yeah.
She wants Sasha to spend time with her.
Yeah.
She dresses up as a cat on Purim, a sexy cat. She cuts bangs. She, does those dance classes with Sasha.
I was going to say the salsa dancing.
And it's that, she wants to spend quality time with her partner. She's craving the attention through time. And, we even said that when they're going for a walk and they're having their breakfast and they're like eating from a cereal bowl, walking down the street. She wants time.
Yeah.
And that makes sense when we think about Morgan taking some of his time and why that would pierce her even more.
Absolutely. Sasha gives his love in sort of these acts of service in certain ways. He takes those dance classes for her. He is, what do you need from me? What do you need from me, Esther? I can do whatever you like. Do you want to use the egg timer? We can use the egg timer. Like he wants to please her in that way. I feel like he doesn't quite fit into that, but don't knock my theory yet. Esther just really craves that quality time with her partner.
I do feel like also this season she's screaming for that. Like that's what the bangs are about. They're definitely trauma bangs.
Yes.
Do you have trauma bangs too, Chelsea?
Okay,
Is this what's going on here? Because you just got bangs as well. And now that we're talking about this, I feel like this needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Thank you for graciously bringing that up. I would like to dispel the rumors. These are not trauma bangs.
They're really cute.
It's fine. I'm fine. We're all fine.
Okay.
I think somewhere else that we see the quality time played out is the egg timer. She's literally timing him. Come back to me, honey. I need you. Where does Noah sit in this theory?
Noah for me is acts of service. He spends his entire life, and I probably would also put him in a little bit with words of affirmation because of the role he plays as a rabbi. We
and
see
the Valentine's
him a lot.
Day card.
Yeah.
We see him a lot talking in his sermons. His sermons are very, very poignant and profound, and we get these realizations from all the characters when he has his sermon. However, definitely acts of service is a big one. He, he wants to do the trips and he wants to get her the bedside table. He is, and this is where I get that golden retriever boyfriend vibe from him, is that he just wants to please her, service.
Yeah. I think is interesting as well. We've talked about this before, but his love language is acts of service, but him thinking he needs to be like a gift giver and do all these grand gestures. But really the thing that he gives, and also Joanne really appreciates, is that little acts of service. I think there's a moment where she says, how you are every day, that is romantic to me. It's not about all this other stuff.
Absolutely. That's a really big difference between how you give love and how you like to receive love. My final one would probably be physical touch for Sasha. Sasha wants to make a baby. He wants to make a baby. He wants to be close. He's talking about threesomes. He's talking about making a baby.
He talks a lot about sex.
He talks a lot about sex.
Guy.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
And
he's quite cuddly as well.
he's very cuddly, very cuddly. And I feel like that's his height too.
Yeah, it's like a big teddy bear.
He's a big teddy bear. So that is my theory on love languages. But this also ties in with attachment styles as well, because Courtney, you brought that in as well. It wasn't all me. I will give you some credit.
Oh, thank God. I was observing Morgan's behavior in the series, especially in these 3 episodes, and her relationship that's forming with Dr. Andy. She feels very disorganized, very detached.
Can we talk about attachment styles quickly? What are the attachment styles?
So for the attachment styles, there's securely attached, anxiously attached, avoidant, and disorganized. And we can see different versions of this playing out in the characters. Joanne's a good example. To me, she appears anxiously attached. She's always waiting for the other shoe to drop. When he says he needs a night off, she freaks out about it. And I know the wording was probably a bit clumsy from Noah's character. However, I think wanting to have a night to yourself to get a few ducks in a row is a reasonable request.
We are basically psychiatrists here. We are. If you guys need any relationship advice, we have all of the answers. No, obviously just kidding. But I feel these are kind of fitting for me.
Yeah, they feel accurate.
They feel accurate. And you can see how that's building the dramatic tension and putting the characters under pressure to make them, go through their character arc and get out the other side.
I do really want to bring up episode 6, which is the Purim episode. Now, according to Noah says Purim is a celebration of Queen Esther, who saves the Jews from this evil guy Haman's plot to destroy them. And it is colloquially referred to in the show as Jewish Halloween. So the whole idea of this particular holiday is to go as your shadow self. And that has so much meaning to me. Going as your shadow self. Bina goes as Queen Elizabeth II. There's nothing more obvious than that.
I don't think that's in the shadow, kid.
No. But look, it's so good. Yeah. Bina is Queen Elizabeth II and Joanne goes as Cinderella, a princess one, someone who is held down by shackles. It is so good. And, Esther's trying to claw out of a relationship potentially, claw out and find herself potentially. She's got her bangs. She wants to kind of explore herself.
To be the fun one.
And then Morgan goes as Pretty Woman. Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, which is just so fantastic. Yeah. But, that episode, the way that they've kind of tied in this Jewish tradition with literally bringing out these characters in this way, I just thought it was obviously quite literal, but it was really clever. And then to end episode 6, we obviously end on one hell of a cliffhanger.
Morgan and Dr. Andy get engaged.
Bum, bum, bum.
And obviously we'll be diving into everything that goes down post-engagement in the next watch party. That will be looking into episodes 7 to 9 and in your feed very soon. So keep an eye out.